Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another day of Conversations with Jason. Super happy to have you guys back for another day. It's day 15. Let's jump right into it. So in today's little update session on what's going on in the whole market, I'm actually going to really talk about what's going to happen, what we can expect. And this is like a trends report from Mckinsey and Company in the whole fashion industry, right? You're wondering why I'm talking about fashion industry? Really, it's just because regardless of what industry you're in, or if you're trying to think about branding or strategy, everything, you really have to understand how the market's going to be changing due to COVID-19. So that's why we're taking a little bit of time to really talk about how this industry is shaping out to be in 2021. Moving on from there, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about setting goals, and as well as what you should be focusing on and what you can't be focusing on, right? Okay, without wasting any time, let's jump into today's episode. So, in general, let's talk about the fashion industry, right? Weird little start, but fun little start, I guess. But what we can expect to see in the fashion industry is that on the low end, on a high end, right? On the low end, what we can expect to see is that maybe a 0 to 5% decrease in overall sales and overall volume. That's because of the whole pandemic, people are not shopping as much, low budget, right? In terms of, and this is assuming that we handle the whole COVID-19 pandemic relatively well because of the new vaccines that are coming out. If we are unable to actually accommodate, and we do see a second wave that's popping by and like it takes over, and we aren't able to contain it, we might see a 10 to 15% overall decrease in sales. But that's aside from the point. Now, three different things that for companies that's really important during times like this, right? And that's agility, flexibility, and operational stability, right? Flexibility really just talks about how flexible you are in terms of the sense that how much you can actually adapt your company, right, to actually change it. So if you're very brick and mortar, if your company is very brick and mortar based, how fast can you actually change everything up to a very digital platform? And if your company and if you're digital and you want to sell more products and your company is only midway transitioning, how fast can you actually integrate the whole system to actually make sure your suppliers are able to ship things? How efficiently can you actually do that? Agility, how fast you can adapt to new things, right? Especially during now when everything is going digital, more and more different tools are popping up. How fast you can actually adapt to it, how fast you can integrate everything, right? How fast, it's really about how fast you can respond. And operational resilience, really how great you are at managing everything, how great you are at making sure your costs don't go over and making sure you don't get bankrupt, and how great are you at managing people, right? Moving on from there, data and analytics, increasingly now, because everybody is moving home and we're not able to drive as many people to stores, because even if we are able to drive people to stores, a lot of people are still very unsure about going out and everything. So data analytics really starts playing a bigger role in terms of all online sales and everything. So how well you are able to integrate all the different data and really get the data that actually matters to you and reach out to the people that actually will purchase from you. Those kinds of things are becoming more and more increasingly important. From there, let's really talk about the trends within this market, right? Because the past 2 years, what we actually see, especially this whole COVID pandemic, has accelerated two different trends within the whole market, and that is the move towards digital, as well as the way people actually view and what people want from brands, right? In terms of what people, in terms of the whole physical to digital thing, right? It's pretty obvious. Everything, people are staying home more. Again, really it's about how good and how easy it is for you to actually transition things to online. How are you able to actually provide your service or your product online and making sure that you're able to meet customer satisfaction, right? Then really talking about justice and what people are actually expecting from brands. Since 2018, and I'm sure that's even earlier, right? 2018, I think the most memorable one was Nike, when they partnered up with Colin Kaepernick to actually kneel during the national anthem. That was, I think, the biggest statement in terms of how much a brand takes a political stand. And they got a lot of backlash from older demographic, but Nike's overall image was great because they really tapped into the younger demographics that was really their company, right? So a lot of people are actually looking to brands to actually choose a side, I guess, in some sense, because they really want the brand to represent them. So being able to fully understand your demographics and being able to choose a side and fight for a cause that resonates with your demographic really has become a selling point, and really has become the point to help you build customer loyalty, to help you build that rapport with your customer. So now that is really a big thing that brands should really be focusing on. Whether or not, if you're really unsure, I did look at being able to acknowledge the problem as well as really just talking with your customers and you're working towards something could be an alternative. This was actually a quote by Fabian Geerhalter. I'm sorry if I butchered his name, but he really talks about no brand can be 100% sustainable, but it's really about how you acknowledge it's really about how you acknowledge the problem, and then you're telling your customers and you're being transparent about how you're working towards it. So if you're not really sure about where you're standing, that could be a really great alternative. Although that's talking about sustainability, I do believe that you could apply the same idea to a stance, understanding that there are issues going on within the whole country or wherever you're in, and then telling customers that you are working towards a better solution. And so that is definitely an approach you could take towards that whole issue right there, right? Now, just really quickly jumping right back to the whole moving to digital thing, all right? Moving to digital also means one big thing, right? And I think I mentioned it yesterday too. And it's really about how we really need to start creating instead of a very transactional approach to people, right? This further reinforces that content now really needs to be content, right? We can't just post things on social media and expect people to like. It really has to start engaging people, really start developing those relationships with people, and that will also help build those loyalty trends, within customers. And it's really important that we, when we now go online, that really it's about entertainment, really about how educating customers, really about building that bond, and not so much of just me telling you buying, right? It's really outdated way of thinking, and companies are seeing a lot of success as they are approaching and they are creating more content. And again, yesterday I was talking already about how a lot of different platforms, right, like G Fuel as well as the Coldest Water uses platforms like TikTok to really promote their brand and really create that kind of connection with the customers. So it's very important that as a brand that we start embracing that kind of concept and not so much and it really has to become interaction between the brand and the customer. And just really taking a quick moment to actually jump back to the overall trends within the whole fashion market, right? Aside from just the whole fashion market and just talking about retail market alone, right? What we do expect to start seeing is that overall travel is still in a very much low point, right? We still do not see many people traveling. So many brands actually appeal to a lot of international people or people who travel to actually sell to those people will be seeing a hit towards their overall business. So these brands will actually have to start adapting their business towards selling towards building that local connection with people, and that's be really crucial towards actually staying alive and sustaining themselves during these hard times. Now that's overall what I think is really the crux and what's the most important thing that we should be thinking about, at least for retailers and the whole fashion industry, right? There's also different things like how retailers and fashion designers, fashion industry really needs to start building deeper connections and deeper partnerships with their suppliers to make sure that they're able to provide well and make sure there's no stoppage there's no interruptions with all the deliveries and things like that. But again, I cannot go through the entire report. It is a 128 page report with a whole lot of different things. I will link the site I will link it down below so that you can actually go check it out. I definitely do recommend you guys go check it out if the whole fashion industry is up your alley and you guys are really interested on that subject, right? In general, right, this retail, I think it's definitely a great option to just really go read up on it and see how this affects retailers, because at the end of the day, fashion industry is also the retail industry. Now let's jump a little bit back. Let's jump right into the main subject that I want to talk about, right? Although I think it's more like the sub-subject today, because I'm going to spend a little less time talking about this, and the daily update was a little longer. But yeah, so really about setting goals, right? Because at the end of the day, I think people get lost in terms of setting goals when it comes to setting goals that are, people get lost on what they should be caring about. Because when you set goals, you have to understand what you can and what you can't control, right? That's the two different things that we need to understand. First is what we can and what we cannot control. When we understand both these and we can separate things, then we can fully really dive deep into what we're supposed to do. For instance, let's say I want to get a job at, let's say, VaynerMedia, right? If I want to get a job at VaynerMedia, I cannot control them accepting me for a job application. But what I can control is everything I do up to that, right? And whether that's doing this whole video blog session, whether that's recording Conversations with Jason, whether that's writing blogs every single day, or whatever it is I'm doing, right? I can prepare and everything, right? And that's what I can focus on. So maybe we need to take a step back and not focus so much on the results, because we can't change the results, but we can change the preparation, we can change the time. So when we can really understand what we have control of, we can really start planning out the different steps that we can actually help reach it, right? Even think about a 10-year long goal, right? Let's say like I want to be a millionaire. You can't control if you'll be a millionaire or not, right? That depends on the sales and everything. But what you can control is the whole preparation. How will you prepare yourself? How will you build up a business? How would you build up? Will you be working within the company? Who will you be working for to actually help enable you that? What kind of side hustles or whatever it is that you want to actually achieve, or whatever you want to do in addition to everything else that can help build it up. So it's very important that every time you set a goal, that you don't get fixated on the results, because at the end of the day, you can't control the results, right? That's the main focus. I need you to understand that. You can't control the results, but what you can control is all the different steps. So start listing out steps every single way of the every single point of the way, right? And then when you have a steady list of all the different results, then they'll help you in terms of how you're going to actually achieve your goals. And then when you can meet your goals and everything is really momentum based, right? When you can get one thing done, you can get another thing done, and you get another thing done. Newton's law of motion doesn't just apply to Newton's law of motion doesn't apply to just objects and stuff, right? It applies to us too. Once we get things started, it's a lot easier to get things going. So really, when you start setting goals, start setting small things that you can reach every single day, and then once you've been able to reach them every single day, you can motivate yourself to do better or to achieve things. And though I do want to remind you guys, right, that it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to not be 100% efficient all the time, right? You hear a lot of people that say you have to grind 24/7, 365, but at the end of the day, you need time to rest. You need time to be yourself. You need time to care for yourself, to love yourself. So it's very important that you guys don't forget that. So take some time off, rest. Once you're refreshed and recharged, go out there and do your freaking best every single day, right? That's all I really have for you guys today. I hope today's little episode is insightful for you guys. I definitely think these are things that I learned that I think was pretty cool, and it was pretty cool to learn about the retail industry through the fashion industry. So if you guys did value from today's video, check back again for tomorrow's video. I'm sorry I'm posting so late all the time. I need to write the blog in the afternoon, and I'm not making excuses, but I will definitely try to post much more earlier. That's all I got for you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, guys.